Welcome to this new video of Azure DevOps tutorial. In this tutorial we are learning about the build pipeline and the release pipeline. And by this video we have learned how can we create a build pipeline, how to create a release pipeline. Now in continuation of the previous video, today in this video we will learn how can we create multiple stages in release pipeline. Let's start. Let's have a look what we are going to learn in this video. In this video we will learn how can we create multiple stages in a single release pipeline. Then we will learn how can we set triggers for the release pipeline. Before that, let's understand what is the concept of multiple stages in release pipeline. If you are watching this tutorial right from the beginning, then you must know that in few previous videos we have created a new project on Azure DevOps where we have added the code for ASP.NET MVC5. Then by using that ASP.NET MVC5 code, we have created a build pipeline. This build pipeline builds the code automatically and creates the artifact. Once the artifacts are ready, then using a release pipeline, we are getting these artifacts as a source and we are publishing the entire code on a virtual machine that we have created on Amazon AWS cloud. Now in a general development scenario, we usually have multiple stages. For example, we have a development stage. Since we are working on the code and to test it in a particular environment, we create a development environment. We create the release on that development environment, we test it. If everything is working fine, then we release the code to the QA environment. And if everything is working fine on the QA environment, then we generally release the code on the production environment. So these three environments are called the stages in Azure DevOps. By this time we have created only one stage, that is dev. Now today in this video we will learn how can we add more stages to our release pipeline. This is the first task. Second one is set triggers. Triggers are basically the permissions which are required for a particular stage. Suppose before publishing the code on QA environment or on production environment, I want some permission from a particular user of my team. If that particular user give the permission to deploy the code on production, then we deploy the code on production, otherwise we do not deploy the code on production environment. So that is all about triggers. And now let's learn all these things in the Azure DevOps real-time environment. So for that I have to open my Azure DevOps portal. This is the project that we are using in Azure DevOps for build pipeline and release pipeline. Just quickly for the recap, I would like to show you that we have a build pipeline. This is the build pipeline, it is working fine. Then we have a release pipeline, and by using this release pipeline we have deployed our code on a virtual machine. If you would like to see the details of this release pipeline, then we can go here, click on the edit button, and here you can see that we have this source artifact. Then we have one stage. This stage is deploying the code on dev environment. Now we have to add one more stage to it. And that stage may be related to QA or production. So at this point we might have two scenarios. For the development environment we are using a virtual machine which is having Windows OS and iOS. But for the QA environment I might need to deploy the code on some Azure service or some other environment or the same machine that we are using for the dev environment. Basically, to keep it simple, we may have the same type environment that we are using for the development, or we might have some different type of environment for other stages. Depending on the nature of the type, if we have same environment, then we can clone this entire stage and we can create a new stage. If we have altogether a new environment, just like here in the dev environment we are using a virtual machine, and for the QA environment we need to deploy the code on some Azure services, then we have to use the add feature of the stages. To add or clone a new stage from this current stage, first you have to select this stage. To select this stage you simply have to click on it and then go here, click on the add button and click on the clone stage. Once you click on the clone stage, a new stage, the name of the stage will be copy of dev. Since we are copying the stage from the first one, So we are copying the stage, copy of dev. Here is the name of this stage. We can change the name to some other name, suppose QA, and let's close this one. Now here you can see that we have this artifact as a source. Then from this artifact we have one stage for the dev which is working fine, and from this stage we have created one more stage which is QA. For a while just delete this stage, and now suppose you want to add a new stage for a complete new environment. So for that, first you have to click on this add button, new stage, and here you have to choose the template. If you want to deploy code on a Azure App Service deployment, or you want to deploy code on a particular Kubernetes cluster, depending on the nature of your application, depending on the server requirement, you have to choose a template from here, and you can add a new stage accordingly. But here for the demonstration purpose, I would like to add a new website on the same virtual machine for the QA environment. So for that I can clone this entire stage, and to clone it we have a very simple way. First we have to copy it, then we have to click on this add and click on the clone stage. Let's give it a name QA, close it. To edit the task, I can go to this task and simply choose QA. So here are the details of this QA environment. So we have the name, IS configuration, create update, website name. So this name is used for the dev environment. Here we can create one more name. So MVC5 app QA. I can update the binding. Since this binding is already associated with the dev one, so we have to update it here. If you are using some other virtual machines, then there is no need to update it, because you generally want the same environment that you are using for the dev environment. But here for the demonstration purpose, I am using the same virtual machine, so I have to update these settings because these are already associated with the development website. So let's update this one. Instead of using port 81, here I'll be using port 82. Let's click OK. So port 82 is assigned to us. IS deployment. This is the deployment group. Since we are using the same virtual machine, so we will be using the same deployment group. If you are using a new virtual machine, then you have to create a new development group, and from this drop down you have to choose that new deployment group. These are the tags, multiple, maximum number of targets in parallel, so these are same. Okay, I'm not going to change this one. IS web app manage, so enable IS website. Okay, these are all the settings. So here I can change the path of the code. So inside this www root folder, I would like to create one more folder which is QA. Let's add this name. Okay, these are the same setting. If you want to create a new app pool or want to update the pool, then you can use this checkbox and work accordingly. So these are the bindings. Okay, we do not need anything extra. Simply click on the next step, which is IIS web app deploy. So here as well I'm not going to change it. Let's click on the save button. Let's add a comment and click on the OK button. So the new stage has been added successfully. If you want to create a new release, then we can click on this create release button. So first the release will run for the dev environment and then for the QA environment. These are the artifacts. You can choose it from here. Stages for a trigger changes from an automated to manual. Leave it. Click on the create button. And the release 5 has been created. Let's see the details of the release. Let's go back to the release pipeline. And here you can see we have two stages. First one is dev, second one is QA. First the build is working on the dev and then it will work on the QA. As you can see, the dev build is complete and now the stage QA is working for the deployment of the website. To view the details, we can click on this release 5 name. Let's click on it. And here also you can see that the dev build is succeed and QA is in progress. To view the logs of the current statement, we can click on this logs. Build is succeed. All the logs are available over here. And now let's verify the QA website on the virtual machine. So here I am on the virtual machine. Let's go back to the IS server. Let's refresh the sites, and here you can see we have a new website which is MVC5 app QA. To open it, simply click on it and click on browse 82. Since we have deployed the website on 82 port, so it will be available to us on 82 port. So this one is for the dev 81 and here is for the 82. It is loading the website. So here you can see our QA website is working fine. In your scenario, the virtual machine might be different, but here for the demonstration I am using only single virtual machine. Now let's try to run all the stages once more by making some change in the code. WebGentle updated name for QA. So suppose I have updated the name once again, WebGentle updated name for QA. Let's commit the changes. Go to change. Here you can see we have one layout file. Okay. So I have added a comment making changes to test QA stage. Let's click on the commit all button and let's push the changes. Click on the sync and then click on the push button. Successfully pushed. Let's open the Azure DevOps portal. Go to the build pipeline. First, build pipeline will get triggered automatically. It is working here. Making changes to test QA stage. This is the commit and it is working here. Let's wait for the completion of this build. So our build pipeline is successful. Now let's go to the release. Here you will see automatically the dev environment is working. Let's click on the release 6 and here you can see that the dev one is working here. Dev is successful and now QA is in progress. Let's verify the changes on the virtual machine. So 81 is our dev environment. Let's refresh the changes and focus on the name of this website. So here the name is WebGentle updated name for QA. This was the change that we have made in the code. So dev environment is working fine. Now let's verify the build on the QA stage. So on QA stage the build is succeed. Let's verify the changes and this one is the QA environment. So here is the port 82 and we have assigned port 82 for the QA. Let's refresh the changes. Now you can see on QA environment also we have the updated build. WebGentle updated name for QA. So this was the name of the application that we have updated from the code. Let's go back to the release pipeline and let's edit it again. So let's summarize what we have done over here. From the artifacts we have created one stages and once this stage will get complete, then we have created one more stage which is QA. Now if you want to create some stages in the parallel of particular stage, then you can do that also. Here all the stages are in queue. So just like first the dev one will get complete, then the QA will get complete. But if you want to run both the stages in parallel, then you can create some parallel stage also. To create the parallel stage for this dev, click on this add button or the clone button. So here you can see we have created one more stage, and once the dev build will get complete, these two stages QA and copy of dev, you can update the settings accordingly that we have done for the QA. These two stages will run in parallel mode. So let's delete it for a while. And now let's learn about the triggers. What I want to get some permissions for the QA. Suppose I'm making some changes in the code, automatically the build pipeline should get triggered and the code should be deployed on the dev machine. But for the QA deployment, I need some permission for the deployment. And to make those settings, we can click here on this pre-deployment conditions. Let's click on it. Here you can see the after stage is selected automatically. Since we are running this stage after the completion of dev, that is why it is visible over here. If you change it from this after stage to after release, then you will see this stage is updated from queue to the parallel, and now dev and QA both will get triggered in parallel. Okay, let's go back to the after stage, and here you can choose the stage. Suppose you have multiple stages at the first level, and from the completion of particular stage you want to run your current stage, then you can choose those stages from here. Since we have only one stage prior to the QA, that is why we have only one value here in the stages drop down. Okay, trigger even when the selected stage partially succeed. You can also trigger the build automatically even if the selected stage is partially succeed. Artifact filter. If you want to enable the artifact filter, then you can enable this button. This is the schedule that we will learn later. Pull request deployment. If you want to deploy the code by using pull request, then you can use this button. But now we are looking about the pre-deployment approvals. To enable it, you can click on this button. Okay, so pre-deployment is enabled, and now we have to enter the name of those users who are going to approve this particular approval. In my scenario, there is only one user in my application, which is me, so I can add myself to it. So this is the user. Then we have some settings regarding this approval. Here is the timeout. This timeout is basically by this time this request will be in pending state, and after this time this request will be rejected automatically. Suppose I created a new release and dev is complete. Now I got the approval request for this particular QA environment, and if I am not approving this reject for this given number of time, then after completion of this time the particular request will get reject automatically. You can update it, you can increase or decrease the time. A maximum timeout of 365 days is allowed. You can set a maximum of 365 days, it means 1 year. So you can update the settings from here. You can update the timeout in days, hours or minutes. Then we have some policies about it. The user requesting a release or deployment should not approve it. The same user who is requesting for the release cannot approve the environment permission. Then you can check this checkbox. Skip approval if the same approver approved the previous stage. So you can use these policies as per the need of your project. And let's click on the save button. Edit triggers. Let's click on this OK button. Let's close this one. So now you can see on this pre-deployment condition, we have a right tick on the symbol of this person. It means someone from the team has to approve for the deployment on QA stage. Let's make some changes in the code. Let's add a new link. Although this link will be broken, but just for the testing I'm adding this link, and go to the changes, commit changes, added new link, click on the commit all. Let's push the changes. It is done. Let's go to the build pipeline. Build pipeline is working here. Let's wait for the completion. Build pipeline is successful. Let's go to the release pipeline. Let's see the details. And now you can see that the build on the dev environment is succeed, but for the QA it is waiting for the approval. So here is a button to approve it, or we can cancel the deployment. Let's verify the changes on the dev environment. This is the dev website. Let's refresh the changes. Here you can see we got the new link, although this link will be broken because there is no associated page to it, but here is the link. So for the dev it is working fine, and let's verify on the QA. Since the build is waiting for the approval, it means it is not visible here. The code is not yet deployed. Either you can approve it from here, or the associated person will get an email in his email box. Let's view the email also. So here is the email, view approval. So deployment to QA is waiting for your approval. Either you can click on this button, view approval, or you can directly click on this approve button. Let's click on it. Okay, let's enter the comment. At this point there are two scenarios. Either you can approve it for the current time, it means this build will get deployed right at this moment, but if you want to deploy this build for some later time, then you can choose this checkbox, and here you can enter the time, the date. So at this given time this build will get deployed automatically. So suppose for the testing I want to deploy it just right now, I can click on this approve button, and now build is approved, and here you can see that the build is in progress. Let's wait for the completion on QA environment also. So the build on QA environment is succeed. Let's refresh the changes for the QA. So we have port 82 for the QA. Let's verify it. Here also we got the same link that we have make in the code. So this is how you can add multiple stages to your release pipeline. If you want to further add few more stages to your pipeline, then you can add the same. You can add the stages in a particular queue or in the parallel for a particular stage. That is all in this video. I hope you are learning a lot from these videos. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Tell me your feedback in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, share the video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.